Hey Survivor, welcome to episode 150 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. This week I attended the second round of hearings for one of four school district administrators for their mishandling of a former teacher's misconduct towards female students, like over a dozen female students. You can check out episode 121 for more on this story. Honestly, it was infuriating. I watched attorneys and this administrator use stall tactics, gaslighting, word salad, and even victim playing, all while wasting time re-traumatizing witnesses and minimizing real harm to the real victims. So today we are unpacking what this kind of institutional gaslighting looks like, why it is so triggering for trauma survivors, and how to stay grounded and empowered when toxic systems and narcissistic leaders, or fleeters, as I call them, like fake leaders, fail to protect truth, justice, and you. But first, let's self-regulate with a 448 breathing exercise, if you'd like. And I invite you, if it feels safe for you to do so, to let your shoulders drop, just settle into your seat, plant your feet on the ground if that's available to you. Maybe roll your shoulders back one after another so that you get some bilateral movement. And we'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice what's happening in your body right now. Just notice, no judgment. Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey Survivor, welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. During this week's hearing, it wasn't a packed house by any stretch, unlike earlier in the year in March during that fateful state board meeting and decision, unprecedented decision, I might add. But there was definitely a heaviness in the room, tension, and there was some chaos and confusion. But during the time that this administrator's hearing took place, I witnessed stalling for time, especially the administrator's attorneys, intentionally, right? And, dragging things out, reading through transcripts that really weren't addressing the core issue, just to kind of stretch the time out and stall. And I don't know if it's outward bullying, but definitely some intimidation tactics, controlling, manipulative type tactics, like subpoenaing the victims as witnesses and then having them sit in the hallway for an entire day, missing work, school, etc. Kind of almost as like a passive aggressive form of punishment for pushing this case all the way to the state level. Yeah, it happens. I noticed the administrator repeatedly saying that they did not recall the answer to a lot of questions. And granted, it's been about 5 years since the original incident took place, but I felt like that was kind of the go-to response. And there was definitely a script that was being followed. And I noticed that the administrator attempted to redefine grooming. And yeah, that happened. That was unbelievable. And then this false martyrdom that kind of happened towards the end, which was unreal. And the crying and playing victim, meanwhile, the real victims were out in the hallway all day, missing work, missing school, and waiting to testify as witnesses, but not get called because they ran out of time. The day ended, and then it became necessary to schedule another day to continue this. See how this works? And honestly, I was angry. I couldn't believe some of what I was seeing and hearing. I could feel it in my body physically, like just the tightness and the tension, the anxiety, especially as I realized that, okay, they're going to drag this out and this is going to have to be continued on another day. Like it's clear to me that this is where this is going. And that's where we landed. But I could feel that tension leading up to that in my chest. I felt really like shifty and kind of anxious sitting in my seat, frustrated, and trying to keep my game face on because this was live streamed, and it was unreal, just really frustrating. And I really have a lot of compassion for the real victims. I mean, they have been through so much over the last 5 years, and they had to show up again and experience having their trauma minimized yet again. So I wasn't just angry, like I was super triggered. And it was like my body remembered every time that I felt dismissed, gaslit, or made to feel like my truth didn't matter. So let's talk about what's really going on here. With institutional gaslighting, when you've got entire systems, whether it's a school system, churches, corporations, even family systems, when they're denying, distorting, or minimizing harm to protect their image or authority, yeah, that's not okay. And using statements like, I don't recall, to avoid accountability, or redefining terms or twisting the definitions of things like, in this case, the administrator literally said, oh, well, that wasn't grooming. It was just poor judgment, or, it didn't happen behind closed doors. So I don't think that was necessarily grooming, or, the teacher wasn't trying to break up the family or come between family members. So, that really didn't constitute grooming. And in essence, kind of blurring the lines morally. And I noticed the attorneys in particular just overwhelming everyone with a lot of word salad and just a lot of, excess information that really wasn't pertaining to the core issue, and, throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall in terms of other, cases and precedents, and reading from the transcripts from a previous hearing, and all kinds of stuff just to create chaos, confusion, even triangulating with the Professional Practices Advisory Committee, or PPAC. At one point, one of the attorneys for the administrator was like, oh, well, Your Honor, you and I are both confused, like triangulating the lead committee member in the situation to make the state attorney, kind of fumble, stumble, and throwing things off, creating chaos, confusion, making it seem like there was something wrong with the way that the state was presenting their case or making their points. It was, ridiculous. Anyway, these types of behaviors aren't random. This is a power play. They're strategic. There's an agenda here. The goal is to exhaust truth tellers or people, who are trying to help bring about justice to the situation. And it's also designed to delay justice, dragging out the hearing, taking it all the way to the end of the day, knowing that the building's going to close at a certain hour, that that the committee's going to want to go home. And also, there's a goal there to protect those in power, especially the ones that are paying the attorney fees. And they get paid a lot of money to do this. And I saw a lot of DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender happening here at the same time. So these are some of the ingredients in this power play that was unfolding before my eyes. Now, let's talk about why this is re-traumatizing. For survivors, whether you are actively involved or even an onlooker, it can mirror the original abuse dynamic, like power imbalances or truth twisting and just being not believed. And that can really be triggering to watch or to listen to. And that's what I was feeling. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, this is ridiculous. Are you serious right now? Like, you're redefining grooming here. And it was unbelievable. And it showed on other people's faces as well. I don't think I was the only one who was kind of like, like what? This is hurtful to survivors. The gaslighting activates that same fight, flight, or freeze response as the original trauma. The body doesn't know the difference, and it can take you right back to, to that time or that situation where you were put in a position to feel unsafe, unstable in your environment, and hurt. So the body feels unsafe, unheard, unseen yet again when you're in a situation like, say, in this hearing. And survivors, you may experience emotional flooding, rage, collapse, numbness, and that's very real. And you're not overreacting. You are reliving a pattern that your body knows very well. So there is nothing wrong with you. Something has happened to you and you are responding to that. When someone is literally twisting reality right in front of you and trying to get you to swallow that whole, it's beyond upsetting. It can be destabilizing, and your body sees that as a threat because it is. So here are some ways that you can lean into healing when this happens, when you are triggered, re-traumatized, destabilized, gaslit, and invalidated in this way. Lifestyle. You can protect your exposure. Like, you don't need to watch or read or participate in everything. And you may need to put a timestamp on your exposure. And this could include social media. It could include the news, if that's applicable to your situation. Or, if it's a family matter or a work situation, you may need to put some boundaries in place on your participation in the situation. So for the victims, after a while, they actually were told that they could leave, and they were a little nervous about that and kind of unsure as to whether or not that was okay. And apparently there was an offer that, hey, if they're needed, then they can, tap in with Zoom or a phone call or what have you, and just be on standby, but, they can go. But of course, the work day had ended, school day was over. Yeah, kind of too little too late there. But after hearings or difficult meetings like this, or challenging encounters or triggering situations, it's important to do something like schedule a time where you can decompress. This could include listening to music that encourages you or uplifts you, or if you need to calm down, maybe something more relaxing or soothing like classical or some kind of relaxation music. Maybe taking a walk where you get the benefit of increasing your blood flow, clearing your mind, getting fresh air, maybe sunlight, but also getting that bilateral movement going with the walking. And that can be very helpful. Journaling, even writing about your experience, just so that you can see in writing like what has happened and that it's real. Or something like a relaxing shower or a bath might help you. Also, you might want to create some time before bed, like as a buffer where you can offload the tension of the day so that you don't toss and turn or have this bad night's sleep because you're still ruminating or just feeling all of the things in your body from the situation. Exercise. Moving your body to release trapped stress hormones can help you to counter that fight, flight, or freeze mode. You can, again, go for a walk, shake it off, literally. Sometimes I do that with my dog. Anybody else? Just me? Stretch, dancing, if that encourages you, or drumming, which I talked about some of the healing benefits of drumming in episode 149. If you feel frozen, then even the smallest rhythmic movement can help to kind of thaw out your nervous system and bring you back into your body and get you grounded. And just taking one step at a time, and that can be encouraging and empowering for you too. Attitude. You can reframe the situation, like recognizing and acknowledging that these tactics validate the fact that power is threatened by truth in these types of situations. You can say a mantra like, I don't need anyone's validation to know that this is real. Or you can ground yourself in self-compassion and give yourself permission to feel angry, grief, and exhaustion. Like, instead of trying to suppress it or explain it away or dismiss it, allow yourself to know what you know and feel what you feel. And finally, nutrition. Keep your blood sugar steady. Cortisol spikes can make triggering moments worse, and you don't want that. So stay hydrated. Have your water with you. I took my bottle in with me and I was sipping on water the whole time and I needed it. Don't skip meals, especially before or after high stress situations, whether it's a hearing or a work situation or even a family situation. You want to make sure that you are nourished, and not only that, but that you're nourishing your body with real foods, whole foods that are filled with nutrients, with vitamins, minerals. You want to make sure that you're getting fiber to feed your gut microbiome and nourish your gut brain, so that communication between your gut brain and your head brain, those lines stay open. And also just supporting your body's repair with healing foods, protein and fiber, like I said, vitamins and minerals, and also calming yourself with things like teas like chamomile or lemon balm that can help as well. So nourishment is key. And then some practical things that you can do if you're in the moment, like you're in the thick of it. Obviously, you can do your 4-4-8 breathing exercise. And you can also have a prompt for yourself, like where you talk yourself through what's happening, like name it, so that you can then know what to do with it. Like, this is not confusion. This is manipulation. Or, yeah, that's not what the definition of grooming is. It's this. And this is lying. This is gaslighting. Or, this is not a normal line of questioning. This is an attempt to drag this out. This is a stall tactic so that you can get on with the business of self-regulating and planning your next steps. Also having boundaries. Like if you're feeling overloaded, whatever the situation is, if it's a hearing, if it's a conflict at work or a family conflict, excusing yourself when you're overloaded, and say something like, I need a moment to gather my thoughts, and then take a walk or do something that is going to remove you from the situation, even if it's temporarily, so that you can balance your brain and body and get grounded, centered, and be able to approach it with just a fresh perspective or support if that's called for. And then taking your power back by writing things down or giving yourself a voice note or typing a note into your phone about what you witnessed or what happened immediately afterwards. Because gaslighting loses its grip when the facts are documented. And then obviously if you are having a really hard time and experiencing panic attacks or hypervigilance or struggling a lot with insomnia, then you may need to call on a therapist or a counselor or maybe even a crisis line. And that's okay. And just know that systemic gaslighting is traumatic. Like, you don't have to navigate it alone. The struggle is real. So when systems and leaders are protecting abusers instead of survivors, it's beyond corruption. Like, it's collective trauma, and your healing doesn't have to depend, thank goodness, on their integrity. Instead, it depends on how you nourish and nurture your body and your truth. Remember, their tactics are proof that they can't handle the truth. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. Your body and truth matter. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. The fear is real when it comes to processing your experience. I know you feel stressed and exhausted with a pit in your stomach at the thought of being sucked back in and lied to again. You feel like a horrible person for going no or low contact, like maybe I'm the narcissist. The fear, self-blaming, and shaming is something we all go through as survivors. I want you to understand that you're not alone and you're not crazy. Every person who's ever been in a narcissistic relationship has felt what you're feeling right now. If this resonates with you and you're like, I'm done with fear, I'm done playing small, I know who I am, and I am not the narcissist, I want you to say yes. Today's the day. I want you to go right now to closeyourcoachingsession.com, and I want you to book your call because we're going to do this together. I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to overcome this fear so that you can begin a long-lasting journey of healing. Let's do this. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.